judges of the Supreme Court, that these four went to the National Tallying Center not for any other reason, but to try to interfere with the declaration of results and thereby try to alter the sovereign will of the people of Kenya, which had already been verified and tallied in accordance with Article 138(3)(c). 2, it is our response that the results could not be announced the following day because, according to the affidavit of the chairperson of the commission, and I'm using the word chairperson on advice by Justice Ndungu, which I agree with entirely, that by that time, it was not possible for any form of consensus, because then the follow-up question was, I think, from Justice Lenaola, why, for example, the returning officer would not have waited for an extra day, which he had, to build consensus on the 4 walk-away commissioners. It was not possible. It was very clear that the intention was to try and veto the will of the people, and therefore the chairman had to declare those results. Number 3, the 4 who left, also their colleagues had been injured, and so the chairman had, in our view, make the announcement that day because of the gravity of the situation. Finally, the question that this court ought to ask itself is whether the walking away of 4 commissioners at the tail end of a process which they have admitted was complete, except the declaration, can veto the sovereign will of the people of Kenya. Can the walking away of commissioners at the tail end of a process they have been involved in be the basis of vetoing the right to franchise in Article 38 of the Constitution, which is the expression of the voter? Thank you, and we prayerfully submit.
Chief Justice, my lords, Deputy Chief Justice, Lady Chief Justice, I'll begin with the question which was asked by Justice Lenaola, and that is, what orders are we seeking? The orders we are seeking is for this honorable court to dismiss the allegation by the second respondent on oath, which have not been accompanied with sufficient level of evidence to justify proof beyond reasonable doubt as required by the Constitution and as determined by this court in advance. And that evidence is beyond the political statements which have been made by my learned friend, Professor Kindiki, just a few minutes ago, and which have never been put on record. On the issue of Rule 87.3, my view and my humble submission is that rule, contrary to the provisions of Section 39 of the Elections Act, and Article 183(3)(c is the only regulatory framework which confers those powers which have been reserved for the Commission and grants them to the chairman. It is contrary to the Act, it is constitutional, contrary to the Constitution, and that was so observed in the case of Maina. Now, there was a question raised by Justice Dr. Wanjala, and you queried whether NSC, without knowing the results. My learned friend, who had just appeared, invitations had been sent out, and the letter